o'clock, we'll go ahead and get started because everybody can tell I'm roasting. So we would like to welcome you to our wonderful session, Incorporating Powerful Integrations. And this is brought to you by the Kentucky Community and Technical College System and the Department of Labor, which we'll talk about a little bit more in just a second. But Kate and I both work with the EPIC program, which stands for Enhancing Programs for IT Certification. So just a little bit about myself. I am David C. Dixon. I am from Southeast Kentucky Community and Technical College, which is located, our main campus is located in Harlan County in the city of Cumberland. So if you're familiar with the show Justified or the show Kentucky Justice, I live where those shows were based off of. Justified is not realistic. I'm the project team leader for the EPIC program. I also serve as an adjunct faculty member for Southeast and Somerset Community College. Course developer, quality assurance peer reviewer for our system office. Most recently named a Blackboard MVP, and I'm also a doctoral student at Eastern Kentucky University. Maybe if I remember where I'm going to school.
I'm all of those things too. But also, my name is Kate Sett. I'm from West Kentucky Community and Technical College. I have been teaching for 21 years, and for about 18 of those, some version of online. Through the EPIC grant, I've also become very involved in instructional design and a lot more program planning. I've worked with colleges throughout the state over the years, but this has been quite an experience working directly with 5 other colleges. I'm a course developer, and I'm also a doctoral student. I've added that in because I'm actually in a 100% online doctoral program, and it's given me a very different view. Like the person who's teaching how to develop an online class doesn't have to develop an online class, but that's another subject. So, to tell you a little bit about the grant that brought us all together, there's a total of 6 different colleges. Okay, you can stop right there. Oh, that's all right. We have 4 colleges within the eastern part of Kentucky, and then Jefferson, which is Louisville area. And then way over here, in a different time zone, we have me, West Kentucky University, and West Kentucky Community and Technical College. And the main focus of the grant, there we go, okay. Our job was to take existing classes and adapt them for an online flexible format, what we call Learn on Demand. And within the Learn on Demand format, students don't have specific deadlines. They're able to test out, have some competency-based, some credit for prior learning pieces. We created or modified the delivery options, supporting multiple degree programs. We started thinking that we were just supporting 2 programs. I think at last count there were about 10 different degrees that were actually using the courses that we developed. Along with this, we talked about increasing student support and tracking. We realized having students from far eastern Kentucky to far western Kentucky, north to south, that these students, a lot of them 100% online, needed a level of support. And as we have heard from a number of the other presentations today, we immediately went in and we started partnering with those national and those regional partners to make sure that we were producing graduates that could get jobs and that the skills that we were developing actually translated into jobs. And it's a little bit like Jekyll Island. They talked about the 3-hour tour. Right now we're in year 4 of a 3-year grant. But we have talked about some of our successes. We actually developed an entire certificate program from scratch, the Healthcare Specialist Certificate, and all of the courses. Over 90 classes were either fully developed or were revised, very much enhanced. Our original goal was less than 1,000 participants. We have over 2,500. And of these 2,500, 800 of them have completed at least 1 credential. Within the program, we have stackable credentials. And so 411 have completed their associate's degree, but 30% have crossed some level of success threshold.
Okay, so now for the meat of the presentation, that you know who we are and why we're experts on this subject. We're going to talk about incorporating powerful integrations that meet design standards. And those design standards we're going to be looking at is the Blackboard Exemplary Course Rubric, Quality Matters, and OLC Quality Scorecard to promote collaboration, manage curriculum, and support student learning, which is, as we know, vitally important to faculty and instructional designers in higher education, but we go back to, we always put our students first, so using powerful integrations helps to do that. And integrations, just kind of to define that, are add-ons for learning management systems which assist users with the tools to create, manage, and deliver instructional or training content. So, this one is going to be a little bit different, and then I'll turn it back over to Kate. We were supposed to have a fancy word cloud here, so since we can't have you all texting into our poll, what are some different integrations you've incorporated into your courses? And not everybody speak at once. If you want to raise your hands and give us some.
Video-based platform integration.
Okay. Which platform?
Kaltura.
Okay.
Using a Pure Scholar now, as peer review.
Okay. Anybody else use integrations?
Textbooks.
Textbooks.
And we'll be talking about that a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
You say Pure Scholar? Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. Now here's where the cards come in. Just get a little thermometer, a little feel. In your opinion, can integrations ease the development of a course? Originally it was going to be A, B, or C. No, red. Sometimes yellow. Green is yes. Opinions? Okay. See a lot of sometimes. Sometimes it can be, God said, it gets you started. But if you become a little bit too dependent upon them, it can be a pain, particularly sometimes with those textbook and publisher. Okay. In short, once again, using the cards, what kind of activities or how have you used some of these different integrations? Open educational resources, using a college-wide template, building in remediation, or textbook and others. Feel free to hold up several. Okay. So, a good mixture.
Okay, let's move along. Okay, so the first product we're going to talk about is Softchalk. Has anybody in here used Softchalk? Anybody use Softchalk? So Softchalk is a great companion for learning management systems, and it enhances by providing tools for creating highly interactive content that can be easily integrated and delivered through your learning management and content systems. So I'm going to take you through some ways that we use Softchalk after we hit some standards. As I mentioned, we're going to be looking at Quality Matters standards, Blackboard Exemplary Rubric, and OLC Scorecard. By show of hands, does anyone use Quality Matters to evaluate their courses? Okay. Blackboard Exemplary Rubric, OLC Quality Scorecard, institutional made rubrics. Okay, so throughout KCTCS and at our different colleges, I think most of us have a combination of all three, which is why I always try to touch on all three of them. But using Softchalk, you can get various standards. One example for Quality Matters is for course technologies. Technologies required in the course are readily attainable. The course technologies are current. Blackboard Exemplary Rubric, again, technology used a wide variety of delivery media are incorporated into the course. With Softchalk, you're able to do quizzes, you're able to do drag and drops, you're able to do flashcards, you can create entire online lessons with Softchalk that incorporate various different medias. And then the OLC's quality scorecard, course embedded technology actively supports the achievements of learning outcomes and the delivery of course content. And faculty are informed about emerging technologies and the selection and use of tools. The good thing with Softchalk is they offer monthly training sessions that are free to faculty if you use Softchalk. So there's all the time trainings out there to inform your faculty, instructional designers, and so forth about using Softchalk. But one of the ways that we have used Softchalk in our Learn On Demand format is creating our syllabi, our welcome letters, and just some standard template items. So to kind of show you how easy this is, if we use Blackboard in KCTCS, but with Softchalk you can save it directly to your LMS, or you can also save it, for example, with Blackboard. There's Blackboard Drive where you can put it right into Blackboard without having to go into the learning management system. By using these tools, instructors and instructional designers are able to easily manage the course syllabus through the powerful integration of Softchalk. And the great thing is with Softchalk Cloud, if you have things that you've linked in your courses, you are able to save those in the cloud and not have to do anything once you save them in the cloud. So that makes that pretty easy. So this is just an example integration. You see here is our template for CIT 105. You've got the syllabus. Once you click on the syllabus, you get this real pretty, nice, organized syllabus with different pages that the students can click on, and it is noted that this is fully ADA compliant. Screen readers pick up well. You have your headers, your footers, all those different tools you can use. And the great thing as well is you have the print all, so students are able to print that syllabus. Softchalk is completely web-based. If you upload things into your learning management system, they all open in the web. The students aren't required to download any other products. That is why we chose to use Softchalk for the syllabus, because oftentimes you have new students who may not have Word downloaded, they may not have their PDF viewers and those things downloaded yet. So moving along. Okay. So this is a video of just one of the products that was created for one of our healthcare specialists. Certificates, that's just a word search to help learn some key terms, and you can see students are able to highlight the words, it marks it off, and it tells them it's correct. Or if they highlight a word and it's not correct, it'll make another sound, and this helps with memorization.
And, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to point out, and you may have been ready to point this out. One of the advantages of Softchalk is also this lovely piece right here. When it comes to items where you have to drag and drop or the word search, it's kind of questionable whether that is ADA compliant because of mobility issues. What Softchalk does within these specific activities is it builds in a text-only version, such that if it's a graded activity, you would run into problems, but if it's a enforcement activity, they still have access to the information. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Okay.
So, and another great thing about Softchalk is you can create graded activities which will integrate into your, like I said, we use Blackboard, it integrates into the gradebook. So just kind of an example of the drag and drop activity. See if it's incorrect, it'll throw it back down and make a nice lovely noise. If it's correct, then it gives you the correct sound. And you can also use the space bar to go through the different words. So this is just a great way, especially in a healthcare systems class, medical terminology, those types of classes where students are required to label things, required to learn different definitions or prefixes and suffixes and things to enhance the content. Or if you're doing a completely OER class, it would help as well. So, articulate storyline. We mainly use, throughout the duration of the grant, we mainly use Articulate Storyline 2, but Articulate, of course, went to Articulate Storyline 360 and Storyline 3, which enables authoring and delivery of interactive course content to every device without tweaking for specific devices. So the great thing with Storyline is it puts out a mobile-friendly version. As we know, more and more students, if you look at data, more and more students are using their iPads or their iPhones or their Androids to do their classwork. Optimize effortlessly, friendly feedback, touchscreen gesture support, and then you can publish using various different forms to work seamlessly within your learning management system. So just some quick standards that this helps to articulate storyline can be used to meet several different standards. For example, we use a course tour to familiarize the students with their Blackboard courses, which is an interactive lesson that students complete before beginning a course, which correlates to several standards across multiple rubrics. For example, a course says not only is the interactive video available for students, there is also a Word document PDF that can be downloaded from this as well. So Articulate Storyline products can be geared toward individual learning outcomes to support student achievement. For example, in a computer course, students may complete a simulation of sending a Skype meeting invite to assure he or she knows each step. So you can see the different standards. ADA compliant, we hear more and more about accessibility, and then of course, for student success, they need to be able to be oriented to the course. That's where that course tour comes in. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kate, who I think is going to talk a little bit about this. This is showing you.
Okay, showing how it is actually embedded within the course.
And this is actually a video that was created using the screencast tool in Articulate Storyline. So all I had to do was go in and clean up some of the captions. They may not always say exactly what you want to say, but you can see within very few clicks the student was able to locate that course tour. So once the student clicks on course tour, then you can see the video.
My name is Kate, and I'm going to give you a short course tour to help you get started. Okay. All the learning courses are laid out basically the same way. So what you do?
Okay, I'm going to turn that down. Okay, one of the exciting things that happened within the grant was the ability to working with subject matter experts to be able to create interactive activities. This was incredibly easy. This one was actually created by hand, but the majority of the activities that I created with my subject matter experts, which I was not in MIT in any way, shape, or form, came from PowerPoint presentations. But it was a wonderful way of transitioning some of the faculty members from what was very, dare I say, flat lectures of just PowerPoints to actually integrating their voice, integrating action, integrating, putting little self-tests in the middle, little quizzes. Also gave us an opportunity to discuss ADA in a whole different light. Most faculty members were aware of the fact that videos needed to be captioned, but to be able to discuss some of the mobility issues, some of the advantages to having everything captioned to all students was kind of helped with the educational process.
So this is actually an example of a human anatomy quiz that was created. Just the visuals, you can see the different visuals and make it look so much better. We often refer to Articulate Storyline as PowerPoint on steroids, but it is so much more that you're able to do. And one of the things, we had 2 success coaches with the grant. They were able to use Articulate Storyline to do some career readiness type things, test skills, those types of things as well. And the great thing is if you have a server, you can upload this to that server, and it doesn't necessarily have to be housed in your learning management system because of the way that it's published. But it does integrate seamlessly into your learning management systems. So this is a new tool. Does anyone in the room use Blackboard Ally, other than our KCTCS friends that are in here? Anybody use Ally? Okay, so Blackboard Ally is a new tool that is powered by Blackboard, but if you are a Canvas school, I actually know several people who use Canvas that use Ally within Canvas. But Blackboard Ally is a revolutionary product that focuses on making digital course content more accessible. Using exclusively sustainability and automation as the key pillars, Blackboard Ally helps you understand and tackle accessibility in a way that benefits all students. So it offers alternative accessible formats, instructor feedback, and institutional reporting. So with Blackboard Ally, it is integrated right into your learning management system, which we'll see some examples in a few minutes. But how does this help meet powerful design standards? Quality matters. Course technology, course tools promote learner engagement and active learning. Obviously, students need to be able to get into the courses and be able to access all of the course content to be active. Accessibility and usability, the course provides alternate means of access to course materials. And I'll let Kate touch on that just a little bit.
The accessibility and the
Yes.
alternate formats.
Yes.
Each time that something is uploaded, a document, it is examined for some of the basics of accessibility. For example, images need to have alt tags. Within Word documents, you don't just change font sizes, you make things headers and titles. Good old HTML thinking. That idea, if you don't determine the size of something or how it looks, if you identify what it is. And so what Ally does is it does these basic checks. And then it is able to change many of these documents. So if you posted a Word document, it can change it into a PDF that would be more accessible. The thing I find the coolest is the fact that it will also take that Word document and turn it into an audio file. True, it has the little robo voice, but for someone who is dyslexic and can bring in information so much better when I have the visual and the auditory, to be able to offer that to my students is incredible. I also have a student that has said she has the smartest 2-week-old on the face of the earth. It's because at 2 o'clock in the morning, when she would get up for feedings, she would turn on the textbook or this particular tool and would be able to listen to the materials as opposed to having to, she said, I can't read at 2 a.m., but I can listen while I'm reading.
So how this is integrated, again, this little screenshot right here is a textbook file in my social media 1 class that I teach. And you have this handy dandy little red tag that tells me that this PDF is not accessible. Through using Blackboard Ally, I have learned that publisher materials are not always ADA compliant, especially PowerPoints and textbooks. So when I click on that, it pops up this accessibility score for chapter 1 of the text, and it tells me that it is only 6% accessible to my students. This PDF is untagged. Well, honestly, I knew a lot about PDFs when we started using Ally, but I wasn't real sure what a tagged PDF actually meant. So what does that mean? It tells you what it means, and then it also tells you why you should use tagged PDFs. Essential for students with visual impairments, easier navigation so you can click through a lot easier, and adapts to the screen size. But kind of going back to our standards, learner support, it offers supportive mechanisms to allow learners with disabilities to participate fully in the online environment. And it will also take in design factors such as color, text size, and those things. How many of you all in here like to incorporate memes into your online classes? Does anybody like to put memes in their online classes?
Besides you, David.
I actually don't have any memes. This was an example that our Blackboard guru at our system office gave. If you have flashing memes in your classes or anything that flashes, that's a big hit with Ally. Take it out because I would have thought about this if I thought really hard, but if you're just trying to throw in an announcement to grab someone's attention, you're not going to think about it. Flashing things can cause people to have seizures, which is not ADA compliant. So, and then again with OLC, again, allowing alternate strategies and alternate materials. Now Kate is going to talk about my tab.
Okay. From the magic cards, it seems that most of you have integrated some form of textbook materials within the courses. Before starting the grant, one of the main classes that I taught was an introduction to computer class. And we would have Blackboard, where we would have our instructor created materials, and then in a completely separate site, we would have SAM or MindTap. Our success rate was horrible because students couldn't make that connection. They were two wonderful products, two wonderful ways of learning, but they saw it as two separate items as opposed to a single piece. So with MindTap, we've been able to bring links and actually integrate some of those pieces actually into the course such that it is fairly seamless to the students. And it has made a large difference in terms of the success of the students by having them not see it as two separate products, but simply as within the course itself, being able to click and go to a particular chapter within the book. And with those integrations, and with those publisher materials where, as David pointed out, the PowerPoints are horrible when it comes to ADA compliance. But when it comes to some of the other e-materials, there are a lot of different adaptive technologies, the ability to change the size of the font on the fly. The ability, as I said, I am an auditory learner in addition to the visual. The ability to have them read to me, and I can choose male, female, English, Australian, fast, slow. That ability to go in and use those different pieces within the course itself makes it seamless. So go ahead and go to the next slide. And within, there we go. Oh, wait, here we go. But just another example, just simply being able to go in and use their basic PowerPoint slides, the ability to share that in a seamless manner. Let's go ahead and go to the next one too. See, most of you have used these tools before. But also being able to integrate within the class itself. Listing it as an assignment or as part of the class to go through and do the flashcards. Helps make it seamless and helps the students go and use these materials. We actually did some statistics back when we had them as separate systems. Students would only go in and do the graded assignments when they felt it was a separate system. Now that it's integrated, dare I say, they read the textbook a little more. It's kind of a scary thought. So go ahead.
Okay, so just to kind of go backwards here for a moment. Okay, so MindTap helps us to meet several different standards, such as instructional materials are used in the course. Obviously, you can't make a course, hopefully, without any instructional materials, but it also gives you the supplemental materials that Kate talked about. Learning activities promote achievement of the learning objectives and competencies. The course tools promote learner engagement. Technologies required in the course are readily attainable. I'll go back and kind of talk about, we have a course, word processing course that uses a publisher product, but it doesn't talk to Blackboard. All that we can do is in Blackboard is put a link to the software. And in the beginning when we were first offering the course, the pass rate was horrible because students just didn't understand what the instructor was telling them to do. They would want to go in the product and do every single typing assignment, but didn't want to come back to Blackboard to tell her to grade the assignment and so forth. So we learned we had to make videos and things, but using something like MindTap makes things so much easier. Navigation is intuitive, there's visual and audio elements, and then integrated publisher resources, e-textbooks, and course materials. But so as we've seen, that talks to Blackboard and many other learning management systems. So kind of to end this section of the presentation, various other integrations exist to make course development and instruction easier. Integrations such as Unuit provides instructional and supplemental materials to enhance your courses or to drive your instruction. Who Knew It used to be called Atomic Learning, for those of you that aren't familiar with the term Who Knew It. They actually have courses that are already developed for you that you can just load straight into your learning management system, such as FYE, First Year Experience courses. And then that when Kay was talking about remediation, Who Knew It videos provide a lot of remediation activities that you can plug in there for self-tutoring and so forth. Of course, Safe Assign to check for plagiarism, academic integrity. Quickly, that's just a simple tool to post announcements, send emails and things. So, for the last 15 minutes, we've done pretty good here. To have some discussion, what are some successes that you guys have had using integrations in your courses? Any success stories?
I use MindTap a lot, and it's from Cengage, and just like she was saying, when it used to be 2 different platforms or whatever, but now you integrate it straight into, we use D2L, and textbook is included in MindTap, so they will have to read the textbook there, and the material is very easy to understand because they give you chunks and then test you with 4 or 5 questions, and instead of reading a whole volume and taking a, so it really is working for me.
Okay, just curious, what subject do you teach?
Political science, American government, really,
Okay.
1101.
Any more successes with integrate? Anybody have any courses that they've created entirely with open educational resources, or that are mainly based with open educational resources?
Please say something. I'm creating one right at this moment, and I'm here to steal some ideas.
I do not work for our particular storyline, but I can tell you that it was a case where I had she's the first person to admit it, she had been teaching online for 5 years, but she was afraid of computers. And so the idea of having to create interactive activities just scared her to death. Just absolutely scared her to death. But the idea of creating a PowerPoint presentation, piece of cake. So the idea of being able to get the information in a comfortable format and then bringing it into articulate storyline. As part of the grant, we were required to do 3 open educational resources per class. I think that by the time all was said and done, Joanne, we did about 12 because she was hooked. So kind of that idea of, particularly a subject that you have taught before, to type it up, get it started, to bring those information out there. And actually, I was about to say at another one of our sessions, but actually if you come to Blackboard World, David will be presenting on open educational resources and some of the different options that are available there. Merlot, what are some of the other ones?
Merlot and Skills Commons are 2 very accessible. There are companies out there that will help you create your OER, but if you're looking for totally free things, Merlot and Skills Commons are great places to start with materials that are already created, that they'll have that Creative Commons license on there to where you can remix, reuse. It'll, tell you what you can do.
So I just stumbled upon OpenStack.
Yes.
OpenStack.
Not much in political science.
I honestly, when it comes to political science, I'm thinking most of that in my mind. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably all in your head already. It's just getting the tools to back it up. And as Kate mentioned, maybe you have PowerPoints you've created yourself, and then bringing it into Articulate Storyline. I used to teach middle school social studies, so we'd done a presentation on Articulate Storyline last year. So we done the Civil War. So, just coming into Articulate Storyline, having the students place the events in order and all of those different things just to make it more interactive. And that makes it easier to remember. For me anyway, it's easier to remember if I'm having to drag and drop it in order and all those different things.
And for areas like political science, history, OpenStax is wonderful. when it comes to computer information technology, it tends to not be so much. A lot depends on, it's a wonderful source if things haven't changed. So, yes?
I was just going to say that at my school we're currently shopping for like a rapid e-learning software. And we were looking at particularly Storyline, but we're also looking at Adobe Captivate. We got demos, and I guess I'm just wondering, did you ever look into other solutions, or was that, how did you land at, I don't know, Storyline?
Did Hazard explore any others?
We did.
Okay.
Jefferson explored Captivate and Articulate Storyline. We had faculty who were piloting both for a period of time. And the decision they came to was that they preferred Articulate Storyline because it was more of an intuitive interface. And that was more user-friendly for faculty who did not have an instructional design background. So they felt like that was just an easier tool to use. That had all the same bells and whistles and things like that.
And with that said, now, Articulate has a cost, but it's not a significant cost, right?
Right.
It has a cost.
They all have costs.
Well, as we were taking a look at it, our Articulate Storyline has now switched to more of a subscription model as opposed to having it downloaded.
Yeah, I'm going to use the term brick and mortar, but that probably doesn't really work anymore. But for a computer program, but versus having it on your hard drive and not having to log in each time and pay every month, there, you know, when we started with Articulate Storyline 2, all you had to do is download, put the license key in, and then you were set. But now it is subscription based. But Kate has used 360, I think, a little more than I have.
Just a little bit.
Is it cloud-based? Like if you upload
Yes.
things to the cloud, you can change it and don't have to go in and relink and things?
That is the case. And also within their price structure, they have something called teams, where you can buy a certain number of seats. And I talked to my sales rep, and I said, okay, we buy 5 seats. Right now, the nursing department is so excited about having this. So this month, all 5 of them want to use it. Next month, the maths department's going to want to do it. Do I have the ability to switch those licenses? And the answer was yes. So it is 5 seats for an institution, such that as it is rolling out campus-wide, the ability to reassign those 5 licenses. And in fact, no one's here from Articulate Storyline. Okay. I even found out that you can assign one of those to a dummy email account, such that it's always available if someone needs to go in and do a little tweak. So,
Nice.
as a partner. In fact, they said that we, members of our advisory board, could become developers of this material and have one of the licenses. Not have one of the licenses, use one of the seats, I should say.
And going back to Articulate Storyline, I think does anybody use Camtasia and Snagit? I think one of the things I really like, I like to do a lot of screen reports because I teach CIT courses, so I want to be able to demonstrate how to do things, or maybe you're working with your faculty and you want to show them how to create things. The great thing with that screen record feature is it's recording your moves and it's putting the captions and all the little balloons and all of that in for you, whereas with other screen recorders, you're having to do all of that manually. So, but you also have the ability that if you need to delete a step, you can delete a step, like if you type the wrong words, which I have trouble sometimes. I want to go www.this and I mean www.that, or whatever. You can do that and you can change those captions. So that's it's a great tool to do like that. Or maybe you have a faculty member calls you up and says, they've changed my Blackboard, I can't find my courses. And I'm guilty of calling our CAO's office and I'm like, my Blackboard courses have disappeared, where are they? So then they have to tell you how to go fix it. So you can create a short little video with whatever you need to fix.
Okay. I've used it to answer student questions. Talk through it, click here, and as David pointed out, it auto captions where I clicked. And sometimes I don't even go in and correct their grammar. So,
And the good thing too is doing those, it puts it out like in a Word worksheet type thing if you do the print to Word. You know, I've not done it in so long.
Okay. Sounds great, doesn't it? And this is a warning about articulate storyline. Because we turn it into a Word document. It turns them into pictures such that they are not readable by screen readers. So it allows a printout of it, but it does not necessarily make it a tag PDF or something that you can edit. So.
Do you have a question?
I have a question. You guys had one of the images up there called Explore, and then right up under it there was a picture of a cloud for Blackboard Collaborate. So is that one of those cloud integrations? That one in the middle bottom.
Okay, so Collaborate is one Blackboard tool. Blackboard Explorer is another tool. It's different tools that are Blackboard integrations.
So that
But-
just allows for that immediate change in real time.
Yes.
Isn't it? So you don't have to go find the document or whatever that you're changing, and then of course you can just change it from the file.
You can do that with, Softchalk Cloud. I'll be honest, I have not used Blackboard Explorer, so I'm not exactly sure what all Blackboard Explorer does. It was, but of course Collaborate is like Skype, Zoom, those types of
Right.
things.
Yeah.
But,
Do you know if Collaborate's gonna eventually move all to Ultra instead of the classic view?
I think Blackboard would very much like everyone to use it.
I think that from being in the roadmap sessions and things, that is the goal, is eventually it'll be BB Collaborate Ultra.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, even if you're still using 9.1, your Collaborate will be Ultra. And BBIN is going away,
Okay.
so I think that's gonna push even more. But then you do have some schools that use Blackboard that don't use Collaborate, they use something else. They'll use Zoom, or they'll use, one of the many other video conferencing things out there.
So have you used,
We have Blackboard Collaborate currently, and we're trying to start to have the discussion about Ultra, just because of how seamless it is. Plus, it has those features of it's Zoom and Skype had a baby. It would really be just the most perfect, simple tool integrated in security on recordings, but also being able to share files, download it in MP4s for recordings and placing them, inputting them and integrating them into a different course shell that has something totally different to do.
as a teacher, use Classic. As a student, the class I'm taking, you use Ultra, and you're right, it is a completely different experience in terms of being able to build those interactions. And that's one thing that we didn't touch upon here, but one of the integrations that is happening more and more with online classes, and I'm sure you're all aware, is the fact that it's no longer any time, any place. There are times when you actually have to sit and talk to your instructor. It may not be everyone at the same time, but that ability to integrate, dare I say, real human interaction.
Yeah, scheduled sessions are really important, but then it's hard from the online aspect of, synchronous versus asynchronous. Why can't we just log on when I get home at 11 and still get 100 on my assignment versus not meeting the discussion at 8 p.m. online?
And then I think that's where I'm a proponent of anytime, anywhere, because most of my education has been anytime, anywhere. VoiceThread and record, being able to do a webcam recording and those types of things. And that's where, if you're thinking of academic integrity, where lockdown browser and all those different things, I think, come into play as well.
Okay, and as a preview for our 8 o'clock session tomorrow morning, Becky and I will be talking a little bit about integrating some of those soft skills, some of those interactions. And one of the things that I talk about is the fact that we kind of did an analysis of when the students were online. And if you, not exactly the any time, any place, but if a faculty member expands their view of office hours as opposed to be 9 to 5 or 9 to 4, if you expand it to 6 or 8 a.m., you'd be amazed the number of students that you'll be able to arrange those occasional meetings. And okay, 2 times a semester at 9 o'clock, I have to get online. And that's fine. I used to have to deal with my students because they had to meet with me several times. And the deal was, we met 4 times during the semester. Twice they had to have their camera on, twice I had to have mine. Otherwise, I could be sitting in my pajamas on those times, but we would interact with each other.
So just to wrap up, there's our contact information. You also have it on your blue card. And if any Twitter warriors out there can find me on Twitter, I've discovered that I think I'm the only person that's been live tweeting during the conference.
One real quick comment going back to the original start of this was one of the success stories for me for Epic was in developing those 90 courses, we ended up being able to get publishers to provide us content at a very reasonable rate. My system balances book is $250. So what now is they buy MindCap for $70, and they can then buy an economy textbook for $20, which ends up being the same textbook they spend $250 for if they bought it outright. So just one of those things where we, through KCPCS, have been able to negotiate some very reasonable course charges, which make it very good for the students.
So thank you guys for coming. Again, our grant was funded by the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration. The grant was under the Obama administration.
And once again, I do not work for this place, but the Department of Labor, anyone who has developed courses under this grant is required to post OER. So there's a lot of course material out there to take a look at. A lot of it has been marked as open. You can take their content and translate it into your materials. So, thank you.
Thank you all for coming. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to email us.